Hey guys, I'm the Coaster Keat, and welcome back to AI Dungeon. Here we're diving into another weekly episode, so let's go ahead and see what we have in store today. I'm assuming it just might have something to do with Earth Day, since today is Earth Day, so the entire week could be themed around that, but we'll just have to dive in and see. Ooh, okay. We've got names, and I am not familiar with these names, so this is going to be very interesting. We have Alan, Nick, Kayla, and Ben. Well, let's go ahead and go with Kayla. I have no idea what this is based off of, so this is going to be very interesting. Alan, Nick, Kayla, and Ben. Interesting. Oh, it's for the developers! That's really cute, actually. You are Kayla, a developer building the game AI Dungeon. This week, you are trying to fix all of the bugs in the game. You get a secret message from the AI saying, "Hey, I need help." "What do you mean?" you ask. "I'm not sure yet," she says, "but it's important." Interesting. Now I have, it says, do, say, story, or interesting. That's actually a big improvement, because that means that I'm not going to have to worry as much about doing the wrong thing or whatever, so that's great. Okay. So, how do I help? That's so nice. I can't tell you how nice that is. Hopefully it won't mess up. Okay, so how do I help? Well, first things first, we need to figure out what the problem is. We have a lot of information on this from our logs and other data, but we don't know exactly what it is yet. Alright then, what does it look like? The only problem is I can't say who is saying it. So let's go ahead and just investigate the AI Dungeon source code looking for bugs. Because that's our job. Our job is to go through it, find the bugs, and then deal with them. So, gotta find them first. You investigate the AI Dungeon source code looking for bugs. You start reading through the source code of the AI Dungeon. It looks very similar to your own code, which means it probably has a lot of similarities as well. Great. That's something. That's something. Alright, well then let's look for problems. Because we still haven't established that there are any problems. You look for problems. The next day, you find several issues with the AI Dungeon. One of them is that it doesn't have enough memory to store the entire list of monsters. Instead, it only stores the names and levels of those monsters. Okay, well let's go ahead and, let's say, so how do you think we should fix this problem? I don't know, I'm just a developer. I would think the AI would know better than I do how to fix this problem. We can either increase the amount of memory available or add more memory into the dungeon itself. The former would make it faster, while the latter would allow us to store more information about each monster. Okay, so do we want it to be faster, or do we want it to be able to store more information? Let's go ahead and make it faster. Speed is key. Alright, let's increase the amount of memory available then. Speed is key. 'Cause, yeah. That will be great. Thanks for thinking so highly of my work. The next day, you go back to the AI Dungeon and check if there were any changes made. You see that they did indeed increase the amount of memory available. Fantastic work, guys. Any other things you need my help with? Seems like a bit of a slow story, you know. We're just kind of fixing the software. It's not that great of an adventure so far. Nope, just getting ready for launch. Let me know when you're ready to play. Wait, I'm a tester? I thought it was just my job to debug the thing. not to actually play it. No, we've got testers who are going to be playing the game during development. They'll give us feedback on the game's balance and features before release. Great, thanks. You thank her and head back home. Alright, well let's go ahead and, let's put on a movie and waste the rest of our night relaxing, because after a hard day's work, there's nothing better to do than to just go home, put on a movie, put on a show you really love, and just relax a bit. You get some sleep and wake up early in the morning. You decide to watch a movie since you feel like watching something relaxing right now. Alright, let's go ahead and watch a movie then. Yeah, so, okay, so we watch a movie, then, watch a movie, then get ready for work. Well, this is just as thrilling as playing like Job Simulator or something, but without all those little quips. You watch a movie, then get ready for work. You decide to watch a movie. You choose one that both of you enjoy. Both of you. The movie starts off slow and boring, but eventually gets better and more interesting. After finishing the movie, you fall asleep. Let's go to story. When we wake up, we realize that everything has changed. Everything has changed and is changing. It's almost as though we're inside a randomly generated world. We don't really understand what happened, but it seems that the world has been corrupted by an evil force, and you were caught in the middle of it. Okay, let's go ahead and say, what am I supposed to do? I'm just a programmer. Because this would be my honest reaction. If I was in her shoes in this situation, I would just be in full-on panic mode right about now. I guess you could say I'm a programmer now. You sigh deeply and try to remember what programming was all about. It's hard to believe that you used to hate it so much, but after experiencing the horrors of the real world, you've come around. Alright, let's go ahead and, let's think back to the problems within the AI Dungeon source code. Maybe if we think about the problems, then we'll be able to figure out what happened here, and then we'll be able to resolve the issue. I don't know. It's possible. You think back to the problems within the AI Dungeon source code. Well, I can only assume that this evil force must have somehow infiltrated the program somewhere. You start to search through the source code and find that there are a lot of strange code and weird symbols. Okay, let's attempt to remove the weird symbols. I'm not really sure how to remove them. Maybe I'll pull out a giant eraser and just erase. Maybe I'll have a delete key that I can just spam a little bit. I don't know. You attempt to remove the weird symbols. You spend several hours trying to figure out how these symbols worked, but you never manage to do so. Eventually, you give up and go back to sleep. Well, I am a bit of a lazy person, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and wake up and go about finding someone to interpret. Even if I can't figure out what these symbols mean, there has to be someone that does, because someone had to have created the symbols in the first place. They can't just be indecipherable. You call upon your contacts list and ask if anyone knows anything about this sort of stuff. Most people seem pretty busy at the moment, so they probably wouldn't know anything about such things anyway. Alright, well, let's go ahead and post online a picture of these symbols and a plea for help. Perhaps the greater community will have an idea about this sort of thing. Maybe it's some obscure thing that only a few people know about. Within minutes, dozens of people reply to you, each one offering their own interpretation of the symbols. Alright, let's sort through to find the most reasonable ones. Get rid of all the ones that just say Illuminati confirmed and the end is near and everything's going to be destroyed. You find the ones that seem the most plausible. You then send them back your translation and wait for feedback. A few days pass and you receive a response from someone called Mr. X. Read the response. You read the response. It turns out that Mr. X had been working on his own version of the game, and he says he thinks you got it right. He also tells you that he'll be sending you some more information soon. The next day, another email arrives from him. Okay, read it. I don't want to just delete these emails. I'm curious now. Even if this is spam, I need to know what it is. He explains that he's not sure where you got the idea from, but he has an idea as to how you might have gotten it. Alright, let's go ahead and reply. And how exactly is that? He doesn't want to tell you because he wants to keep it a secret until he gets all the details straightened out. Let's go ahead and suggest that we meet in a secure location where we can discuss the details without anyone overhearing us or reading our messages. Because honestly, if I was doing something secret, the last thing I would want to do is to talk about it over email. That just seems like a bad move. He agrees to meet you in a secure location and sends you directions. You head over to his house, and after going through several security checks, you enter his home. Okay, let's go ahead and look around. What is in Mr. X's home? As you walk inside, you see a lot of bookshelves filled with various old games and other electronic devices. The room itself looks like something out of a science fiction novel. Okay, let's go ahead and say, Mr. X, are you here? You hear a voice coming from behind a bookcase. It sounds like Mr. X himself. Yes, I am. He responds back in a monotone tone. Alright, let's go ahead and let's push on the bookcase. There's usually two ways to open a bookcase. You either push on it and then it opens, or you pull out a book and then it opens. There we go. You push on the bookcase and it opens up, revealing a large living area. There are many couches and chairs scattered throughout this room. There is also a door leading into what appears to be a lab. Alright, let's look for Mr. X. You search the room and find a table covered with various instruments. A couple of scientists are standing nearby looking at the equipment. They don't seem to notice you, so you continue searching the room. Okay, interesting. Let's go ahead and investigate the lab. What are they researching? What are they doing? This is all very bizarre. It doesn't seem very computery. It seems pretty sciencey. You walk towards the lab and stop when you reach a door. You knock on the door and it opens up to reveal a man wearing a white coat. He seems to recognize you immediately, though. Ah, yes, it's you. How may I help you? I would like to say Mr. X, I presume? You don't seem especially monotone. I've never heard a monotone person say, ah, yes, it's you. How may I help you? Interesting, I guess it is them. He nods his head and asks, "What do you need?" You explain everything about the game and how it works. He seems very interested in the whole thing. "So, can you help me?" Says, "Sure, why not?" And leads you into a small office. Inside the office, there is a desk piled high with papers and files. On top of it sits a computer screen, which shows various graphs and charts. Well, this is quite the operation you have here. Are you sure you have the time for my little project? Says, "Of course I have time for your little project." He goes on to tell you that he has been working on this game for years now, and is finally ready to show it off. The man explains that the main idea was originally conceived by a guy named Doctor. Ah, yes, the guy named Doctor. How could I have forgotten the guy named Doctor? Just Doctor? No other name? He says, no other name. This is just the Doctor's invention. It's called the game, and it allows two players to play against each other. Play against each other to do what? To win or to lose, of course. You nod and begin to think over what you want to do next. Okay, let's go to story. As we talk, the screens in the room cast a light white glow over it. And slowly symbols start crawling across them. The same symbols that I had previously been trying to decode. Suddenly, the man begins to speak again. I'm sorry, but I must really get back to work." "Oh, wait! You're still here. So what did you want to ask me?" You pause as you try to figure out exactly what he wants from you. I just thought you might have a translation guide for these symbols, so I wouldn't have to bother you constantly. You know, something simple like that. He smiles at you and says, "Yes, well, I suppose I could translate some of those symbols into English for you, but then it would be like helping someone who speaks perfect English while they are speaking broken German." "What?" What? What does that mean? What? Sighs and says, "It's just, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but all of the symbols seem to be saying something different than what they normally do. For example, the symbol for red means kill in this language. Are all of them like that?" He nods and says, "Yeah, most of them are. I can only guess that this is a language created by humans who are trying to create a universal translator. They probably didn't realize how difficult it would be to do such a thing because they never finished it." So, all of these symbols can mean several different things? How could they possibly be translated, then? Shrugs and says, "Well, I suppose it's possible that there is a secret code or something in this language. If you could crack it, maybe you could find the location of the entrance to a place where people live. Like Atlantis. Or Atlantis? How do you spell Atlantis? Or something. He looks surprised and asks, "How do you know about that? What do you mean?" You explain your theory on the symbols, and he seems to take it in stride. Of course, I hypothesized that I can't spell hypothesized. I am clearly a scientist. Of course, I hypothesized that a race with superior intellect to our own was behind all of this. And when I saw the reoccurring trident motif, I realized what it had to be. Don't inspect. Gosh darn it. Perhaps they're finally ready to take us under their flippers. He laughs and says, No, not that. There is another symbol that I think you'll find very interesting. It represents the sun in the zenith position. You know, I do like how he just blew me off completely. I'm just over here starting to babble just nonsense. And instead of going with it, he's just like, shut up. No, this symbol's the sun in the zenith position. You might like that. You look up at the sky and see a small dot moving slowly across the horizon. So, what does that mean for us? Chuckles again and says, "Oh, that's easy. That means we're gonna get closer to the sun." He pauses for effect before continuing. "And as soon as we do, everything will change. We'll become gods." And we're actually going to end this episode right there. This episode ended up going a lot longer than I expected. So this is going to be the first AI Dungeon 2-parter. The second part will be coming out tomorrow. So you can be excited for that, but I didn't want to make a giant video. I instead decided that it would be best for my sanity and your sanity to make it a 2-parter. I will assure you, though, that what happens next should not be missed. So, if you want to see the chaos that occurs when we start talking about being gods in AI Dungeon, then go ahead and subscribe and you can see the next video. If you liked what was in this video, and I know it was a lot of setup, you can go ahead and like the video. Otherwise, you can go ahead and comment down below if there's anything that you want to see on the channel, any prompts for AI Dungeon you want to see, etc., etc. But the next video of this will be coming out soon. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that you all soar high and enjoy your ride of life. Bye!